Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Hey, welcome back to Infinite Threads. My name is Bob and I'm your host. Love has a way of arriving at inconvenient times. It rarely checks whether the room is tidy. It does not wait for us to become fully healed, completely wise, or certain about what comes next. Sometimes it appears while we're still trying to understand the last thing that happened to us. That has always interested me. We spend so much of life preparing. We plan what we can. We protect ourselves when we have been hurt. We try to recognize danger before it reaches the door. Then, love shows up and doesn't fit neatly into any of those preparations. A stranger becomes familiar. A conversation lingers longer than expected. Or someone makes us laugh at a time when we had almost forgotten what ease felt like. Nothing dramatic may happen at first. Still, the shape of the day begins to change. That's part of the wonder, guys. Love can begin before we know that it has begun at all. Maybe it starts with trust. Maybe it starts with being understood. There are times when it begins simply because another person pays attention in a way that we did not realize we needed. Later, we look back and see the doorway. At the time, it felt ordinary. Most important moments do. The world doesn't always pause when a life is changing. Traffic keeps on moving and the laundry still needs folding and a phone rings in another room. Somewhere in the middle of all of that, a new connection takes root. Then, one day, the person matters. There was no vote, no announcement. The heart quietly rearranged itself. I think that's why love can feel so mysterious. It doesn't always follow the part of us that likes control. We may have rules about what we're looking for. We probably do. We may believe we know the kind of person who will fit into our life. And I think we probably do that too. Love has been known to ignore all of that. It often sees something before the mind catches up. And that doesn't mean every strong feeling is wise. Human beings can mistake longing for destiny. Loneliness can make a door look safer than it is. Love still needs honesty. It needs time enough to reveal whether it is creating safety or simply feeding a wound. But even with that caution, there remains something surprising in the way real love arrives. We don't manufacture it. We can make room for it. We can become more open. We can learn to recognize what is healthy. Yet, the spark itself still feels given. Someone who did not exist in our daily world becomes part of it. Their name begins carrying warmth. Their presence affects the atmosphere of a room. A message from them can shift the weight of a whole afternoon. How does a person acquire that kind of meaning? I don't know. I have no idea. Perhaps meaning is not always something that we create alone. Sometimes it comes toward us through another life. There are forms of love that find us in childhood. We don't choose the first arms that hold us. We don't understand the sacrifices being made around us. Years later, we may begin to see how much care was present in moments that looked simple. Other love arrives through friendship. That kind can be especially surprising. No one tells us exactly when a friend crosses into the territory of family. It happens through accumulated trust. A difficult season comes and they stay. Something embarrassing is revealed and they don't make us regret the telling. Eventually, their place in our life feels natural. Romantic love carries its own kind of mystery. It can awaken parts of us that had been quiet. There is joy in that. But, there's also fear. To let someone matter is to hand them the ability to hurt us. The heart knows this. And guess what? It opens anyway. Maybe courage is hiding inside that choice, not reckless trust. The quieter bravery of allowing closeness after learning how painful distance can become. Some people are found by love when they have stopped searching for it. Others have waited so long that hope has grown tired. Then a person appears and the future no longer looks exactly the same. Nothing has been promised yet. The uncertainty remains. But a possibility has entered the room. That alone can be enough to make the world feel larger. I'm something with my hands, aren't I? Love finds us in less expected forms too. A child enters a family and changes everyone's sense of time. An animal comes into a home and somehow becomes part of its emotional center. A community welcomes someone who has grown used to standing at the edge. The form changes, but the essential movement doesn't change. A life reaches another life and says, in one way or another, you belong here. There are few things more healing than that. Belonging cannot always erase what happened before. It does not remove every scar. What it can do is give the wound a different future. Pain is no longer the only thing shaping the person. Love has entered the story. That matters because many of us have spent time believing we were difficult to love. Maybe someone left. Maybe affection was used as leverage. Or maybe the people who should have offered safety were carrying wounds of their own and passed some of them on. Experiences like that can teach the heart to brace itself. Then kindness arrives without a hidden price. At first, it may be hard to trust. We naturally, as humans, we look for the catch. Love waits nearby. Real love does not demand that fear vanish immediately. It understands that some doors open slowly. Patience becomes part of the invitation. Over time, something softens. Not because the past was unreal, but because a new reality has begun forming inside of it. And that may be one of love's quiet miracles. It doesn't travel backward and undo what hurt us. Instead, it meets us where the hurt has left us and begins creating another path. The old path may still be visible. We may wander back toward it sometimes, but now there is a way forward that did not exist before. I wonder how many people have been saved by love without ever even using that word. A teacher noticed something good in them. A friend answered the phone. A neighbor made room at the table. A person who expected rejection was met with warmth instead. The moment may not have looked miraculous, but a life turned slightly because of it. Small turns can lead somewhere entirely new. Love often works at that scale. It enters through a crack. Doesn't always need to arrive as a grand declaration either. Sometimes the first evidence is relief. You notice that you can breathe more easily around someone. You don't feel the need to perform. Silence stops feeling like a problem that must be solved. That sense of safety, it's easy to underestimate. In a world where so many people are guarding themselves, being able to rest in another person's presence is almost sacred. Maybe that's one reason that love feels like being found. The deepest part of us has been waiting to come out of hiding. Then someone approaches gently enough that hiding no longer seems necessary. We still remain responsible for ourselves. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Love should not require us to disappear. Healthy love does not swallow identity. It makes room for it. That's how you identify this stuff, guys. We become more able to speak honestly because the relationship can bear the truth. And that kind of love does not rescue us from being human. It gives us companionship while we learn how to be human more fully. I think love also finds us through loss. And that may sound strange. I know, believe me, I know. We've all experienced so much loss. Grief reveals how deeply another life entered ours. The pain tells us something mattered beyond convenience. We would not hurt this way if the connection had been shallow. And that doesn't make grief easier, but it does reveal the magnitude of the gift. I mean, thank goodness, right? We were found by a love strong enough to leave an absence. Some people spend years trying to avoid that kind of vulnerability. And it's understandable because it hurts. Loss is frightening. But a heart protected from every possible sorrow would also be protected from much of what makes life meaningful. Love asks us to accept a mystery. Nothing here lasts in the form that we first receive it. People change. Relationships change. Bodies grow older. Time keeps moving. Still we let ourselves care. We make memories even though they will one day ache. We say, "You matter," knowing that those words create a bond the future may test. Why do we keep doing that? Maybe because love makes life feel true. It brings us out of isolation. It reminds us that we were not made only to observe the world from behind our own eyes. Another person allows us to experience life beyond the borders of the self. Their happiness matters to us. Their sorrow reaches us. For a while, two separate lives begin sharing part of the same emotional weather. And guys, think about it. That is extraordinary. It's so extraordinary when you really think about it. We become capable of carrying concern for someone who's not us. The heart expands its definition of home. Maybe love finds us because some part of us has always been waiting to recognize itself in another. I can't prove that either. I'm not sure love belongs to proof. It belongs to encounter. We know it through what happens when it arrives. The world looks familiar, but not quite the same. Ordinary things gain color. The future develops another voice inside it. Even fear changes because now there is something precious enough to fear losing. And that's the cost. And it's a steep cost, but it's worth it. I wouldn't give up the loves that I've had for anything. It's also the evidence. When love finds us, it doesn't guarantee ease. Sometimes it brings old wounds to the surface. Closeness can expose the places where trust was damaged. A loving relationship may require conversations we would rather avoid. That doesn't mean love has failed. Sometimes it means love has reached a place in us that has never felt safe enough to heal. The process can be very uncomfortable. It can also be deeply tender. Someone remains near while we learn that honesty does not always lead to abandonment. A disagreement ends without the relationship ending. An apology is offered without being dragged out. I'm always giving examples. But experiences like that teach the heart a new language. Perhaps this is how love continues finding us even after it has already arrived. It finds another hidden room, and it knocks softly. It waits for us to open. There may always be more of us left to discover, too. The same is true of the people that we love. No person, no one, can be fully known in a day. Years pass, and another layer appears. A story is finally told. A fear is named. Something we thought we understood turns out to contain more depth. Love keeps meeting the person as they become. That is different from loving an idea of them. An idea stays still. A human being does not. To love someone over time means allowing the relationship to remain alive. There's wonder in being chosen again by someone who has seen more of us than they knew at the beginning. Not blindly, and not because every behavior is acceptable either, because they're not. But because the living person continues to matter. Love can also find us when we are the one giving it. We may think that we're helping someone else. Then we discover that caring for them has changed us. The heart becomes less cramped. Our priorities shift. We begin noticing things that once passed by us unseen. This is one of love's surprises, guys. The gift does not travel in only one direction. Even when love is not returned in the form we hoped for, the act of loving can reveal something about who we are capable of becoming. And that does not mean that we should remain where we are, mistreated. If we're being mistreated, it definitely doesn't mean we should be there. Love must never become an excuse for harm. But the sincere care we offered was not meaningless simply because the relationship did not last. It may have taught us. It may have opened us. It may have prepared us to recognize something healthier when it appeared. Not every love stays. Some are seasonal. They enter, bring something necessary, then leave us carrying both gratitude and pain. It can take a long time to accept that a relationship mattered, even though it ended. And every relationship did matter, even if it ended. We often think performance is the proof of value, but life does not always work that way. Rarely, actually. A brief light can still help someone find the road. A person can change our direction without accompanying us to the destination, but that does not make the encounter unreal. It makes it part of the mystery. I love that mystery. Love arrives in forms we don't control. It stays according to rhythms that we can't always understand. What remains afterward may be wisdom, memory, or a deeper capacity to care. Perhaps the important thing is not that every love lasts exactly as we hoped. Perhaps it's that love found us at all. For a while, another life reached ours. Something opened. We were reminded that the heart is more than a place where pain collects. It's also a doorway. And doors can open again. That may be the hope inside today's reflection. And I know it's a long one, guys, but no matter how settled life feels, love can still surprise us, and it may arrive through a person. It may come through forgiveness. It may appear as the sudden realization that we're not as alone as we believed. We can't schedule that kind of grace, but we can remain awake enough to notice it. We can resist the urge to dismiss every gentle thing, and we can let wonder have a place beside caution. Love does not ask us to abandon wisdom. It asks us not to let fear become the only wisdom we trust. I know this was a very long one today, guys, but it is what it is, right? Thank you for spending this time with me on Infinite Threads. Love may not arrive when you feel ready. It may find us while we're still gathering the pieces, and perhaps that's part of the miracle. It doesn't wait for us to become flawless. It reaches toward the life that is already here. And I love you guys. I do. I love each and every one of you very, very much, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Share this with someone. Share this with someone you know needs it. I'll talk to you soon. Later, Gators. Bye-bye.